Good evening, everyone. It is Friday and week is almost over. I think this week has been pretty good for Bitcoin. We kept on rising. We hit basically our final target at this point. You're going to notice a couple of things here. Yes, I do not have my Bitcoins any longer. I did take profits last night. It happened after the stream. I was like, yeah, I was confident that we were going to continue rising, but I just had to lock in the profits. I had to. I promise I will re-enter. I just have to figure out exactly where that entry will be. The uptrend is very overextended over here, right? Like the RSI very overbought. We're going to need a correction pretty soon. We have some stuff that can come up this weekend specifically. First of all, low volatility, so we will be what I'm estimating will happen for this weekend. We'll be stuck around here or around here, wherever it may be. And it's all going to be in the weight of what's happening next with Hamas and their response to the Gaza plan that was proposed by Trump and agreed by Israel and supported by many Arab countries and other countries around the world. We have an important resistance over here. This is the all-time high resistance. We did not make a new all-time high yet. We hit a high today of 123,954. Very close to 124,000. But nonetheless, I'd say that's close enough to our target. You got to give it a bit of a break here. It's been overextended for such a long time that I feel like a correction is a bit necessary. I don't think I've seen Supertrend rise up this sharply in a long moment. So I feel like we're going to get a correction soon. And I plan to take advantage of that correction that will happen soon. I don't know exactly where that's going to be, but time will only tell. From here, if that is the top, I would draw a Fibonacci like this to kind of figure out where the next entry would be. To do that, I think I'm gonna pull up the USDT chart just to kind of start off a bit fresh, right? Looking at a plain chart view, because I don't think, okay, well, I do have a lot of stuff here. I'll delete it. So we'll start fresh from here. Okay. Yeah, so the 124 target was hit, and if that is the top, where are we dropping to? First one, 120,000. 118, 116, 114. There's no big difference here. Okay. One thing to look out for is the new pivot levels that will be generated on Sunday. That will kind of help me determine which Fibonacci levels I should be paying attention to for a potential reversal. I don't think that the cycle is over. I don't think we're topping out here. I don't think we're making a double roof and then we're crashing into a bear market. That is absolutely not the case. I know, like I said, I already took my profits yesterday. I had to. It was just there. You had to do it. And I wasn't sure whether or not today would be a rise or not. We didn't get the economic data. We didn't get non-farm payrolls. That's getting delayed until maybe next week is what I'm hearing because of the government shutdown. Still no resolution to it. I heard some talks about there was a vote that failed to pass on ending the shutdown, something that Mike Johnson and the Democrats are dealing with, so not my problem. But if I was to just basically look at this and say, okay, where are we going to be correcting to if a correction was to be made, I would look at 116,000. I'm not saying we're immediately going to crash down there. Could be the case depending if Hamas rejects the deal and the war continues on the Middle East. I feel like that is something that can catalyze a drop like that, but it won't be that large or that significant. It shouldn't take us lower than 116,200 is what it's looking like. So that's kind of my view on things right now. I decided to just lock in the profits. If we continue going higher, sure, so be it. Altcoins will follow. I did not take profits on my altcoins. Those are still available. It's just Bitcoin that I took profits in. And also in Aptos. I took profits in Aptos, which arguably a bit too early, but it was the best performing one out of all of them. I didn't take advantage of like Stellar, for example. Stellar was doing good the first time it rose when I had it over here. We're basically as high as where we are right now. I was greedy with it. I wanted it to continue higher. It eventually did not happen, and we came back down a lot lower. I could have, taken my profits and then re-entered, only knowing, of course, that we were going to drop again, but I can't predict the future. I don't know what the future is going to look like. So I just decided to hold on to the asset, and well, we've been fluctuating in price, and I've just paid more in commission without locking in a profit where I could have locked in profit if I purchased like over here, right? And I could have just taken profits like up there or something. Looking in at the chart in retrospect, of course, you're going to think that kind of stuff, but one thing you have to also understand is it's a good idea to take profits. There will always be opportunities in the market. For some that are worth it, though, I would say would be the best idea to take profits. Right now, we're in a very troubling area for Bitcoin. Troubling in a good way. Don't get me wrong. Because we're at 122,155. The current price of it. We have a very, very clear rejection of price continuing forward based off of the pattern that we see over here. Huge candlestick wick, whatever you call this thing, rejection, right? So we rose up there, but immediately a lot of sell pressure was met, and we haven't been able to continue higher since then. I know this was like in the afternoon, so you can't really blame right now not being able to continue higher. That is because we are now entering a period of low volatility over the weekend. Saturday, no markets are open, globally speaking. So the institutional investors are not going to be there to move big dollars. So that's kind of my view on things. I feel like a correction is necessary because RSI is also looking really not healthy. Something has to happen. It has to come back down again. We need to see those fluctuations. Market can't go up forever. But again, it's crypto, so you never know. Blowing chunks, welcome, sir. Predictions. All right, let's hear it. Government shutdown continues next week and won't impact the market. That's true. If anything, it's actually been benefiting the market. I'll agree with you there. Hamas rejects the deal. It is kind of looking that way. The bear market will start in December or January timeframe. The USA recession. I agree with that too. Crypto pumps all throughout October and November. Yep. I'm on the same boat as you, to be honest. I'm exactly expecting that as well. Us continuing to pump for October, November, and maybe not much in December or January. I think things could start picking up a little bit. I don't know how big the crash is going to be. I know we are very over leveraged right now. That's also part of the reason why I think a crash is necessary. I'm not trying to be bearish about it or anything, but it's something that has to happen eventually. So the bear market, don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but I think that could slow it down, or, after the hype is over, could be maybe Jerome Powell leaving, not resigning, but his term ending, right? Trump replacing the Fed chair with somebody who is more in favor of cutting interest rates. Although we are expecting lots of rate cuts, not a lot, but like, a good amount for next year and for the remainder of this year. By the time it comes to like 2027, I think I saw in like the charts over here, it's a really far estimate because we're trying to see very far in the future, which is kind of difficult to predict. But it's looking like we will be getting rate hikes again after like 2026. I'm talking. Let me find this exact over here. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. We're looking like a lot of good rate cuts until maybe June 2026. Okay, sure. That would be fine. No rate cut in January, one thing to note, right? By March, that's when Jerome Powell's term probably ends, and we're probably going to get a rate cut right there. I think things could pick up by March and April again. So that's what I'm kind of seeing here. And then after June, for the rest of 2026, no rate cuts. Possibility of one more in 2027, but after that, it's looking like we're going to start hiking again, and the odds of that are increasing after in 2027. So I think by that time, obviously, we will be experiencing a bit of a bear market. I don't even know, with these such low rates, will there even be a bear market? Some people actually don't think that we'll be in a bear market ever again, that we're just going to go up forever. Even Michael Saylor, I'm pretty sure, thinks that. but I'd still be cautious with it. I will be DCAing into entries if we do see any retracements, like I'm talking in the future after this cycle top that people are expecting. Because it's another thing to look at is the market sentiment, right? Right now, everybody is with that narrative, the understanding that we're in Uptober, Moonvember. If September is green, Q4 will be green, that kind of stuff. So everybody gets in that mentality of buy, buy, buy. Now is the time to get rich, right? And then we all know what comes after, and it's like that bear market sentiment will start hitting the markets as well, cryptocurrency specifically, because we're like, okay, the 4-year cycle is over. A bear market has to happen, and people will start, being more prone to shorting. Maybe even myself included. Maybe I'll start shorting the markets by then. Wherever the money is, I'll be there. But, it might pump hard in December. Really depends how obvious the USA recession is looking at the moment. That is also true. Yeah, so it really all depends. I'm gonna play it safe though, so I'm sticking with October, November for where the tops will be at. So that's my little update that I've had on my portfolio. Bitcoin sold, Aptos sold. I'll have a look at Aptos since I briefly touched on it. Just kind of show you guys what the trade exactly looks like. So it's not like I purchased down here. My average price was like at 430, so it was maybe up here because I was purchasing multiple times throughout. Actually for a very long time, I think. And I decided, you know what? We're rising that much. It was the best performing one. Aptos was performing even better than Sui at that time. So I was like, yeah, Sui is lagging behind. I'll keep holding on to Sui. And I have more money in Sui. I have less money in Aptos, and Aptos is giving me a larger return. I'll just take the profits here, just to be safe with it. We are overbought on Aptos as well. I would expect a correction on it soon. But you better believe if this drops below $5, I will indeed be taking another entry on it. Yeah, below in chunks, I did close my massive Bitcoin position. And I've explained why. It just has to correct. I plan on re-entering like soon, probably at 116,000, but I just decided to just lock in the profits at this time. Maybe it would be my demise. I don't know. But like I said, I'm still expecting things to rise. Everybody's expecting things to rise for the rest of this month and of November. I just want to play it safe with what we're going to get with this whole Hamas situation that's going on. That's kind of my view on things. The profits, if you guys care at all, you can go to the USDC stuff. So Aptos, I made 1,256, and then Bitcoin was after fees 7,546. It was originally 8,876. That's the issue with it too, is that in futures, the funding fees, especially if it's a really large position, it's brutal. It's harsh. Like, how much fees am I paying here? 1,253 in just fees. And I could have taken this same amount of profit, almost the same amount of profit, when it rose to 117, almost 118,000. But have I known that we were going to top there before making another local bottom, yeah, I would have taken profits over here because I had this Bitcoin position open for a very long time, since August, maybe end of August. So yeah, I figured now's the time to take some profit, right? The chart's telling you to when the RSI is overbought. And it's the futures market, so you can't really hold on a position for too long. If I was holding Bitcoin on spot, like if I actually had large amount of money to buy into Bitcoin, I would still hold on to that because you don't have to worry about the funding fees that get charged every practically 8 hours over here. So it's getting to that point where I'm like, the fees are getting to me. I know the gains will offset the fees, like that's guaranteed. But maybe, I could also maybe even reconsider the amount of leverage I'm using in Bitcoin. It's 3x. It's really, really safe. My liquidation price was 70,000 or something. And that's really far off. I could risk it a bit more. I could go 5x and be totally fine. At, what were we? Our average entry was 112, right? If we're doing 5x leverage, just divide this by 5. So 112 minus 22,000. Bitcoin would have to drop $22,000 from 112 for me to be liquidated. Yeah, just basic math. 90,000. Okay, you're getting liquidated at 90,000. That's still really safe for Bitcoin, in my opinion. I could use less capital and a higher amount of leverage and use more of the capital to buy into more altcoins, although maybe it's a little too late for that. I don't know. I wouldn't mind a pullback so that we can start re-entering other positions, especially on some altcoins that haven't fully taken off yet. There's still a couple that are slightly in the red for me, right? I'd like to maybe, I don't know, considering what those positions are looking like on each one specifically, I'll have to make the decision on whether or not I want to add more to that. So that's kind of my mentality on it. How much did I make on Sui again? I mean, Aptos, 1,256, 1,318 unrealized, let's just say. And then Sui is still at 1,266. Aptos, 1,300. And I had less money put in there. And Sui has more money. That just goes to show, comparing the two, Sui and Aptos, which are both kind of the same type of project. Aptos was giving me a larger return, and I'm like, I have to punish you with taking profits. So I did it. I had to do it. But trust me, I will be re-entering Aptos if the opportunity is there. So fear not. Moving on. Ethereum, 4,493 current price. We hit a high of 4,593, almost 4,600. That's pretty good. I don't plan on taking profits yet on Ethereum. When we approach 5,000, that's when I'll start like analyzing a bit more to put maybe a take profit. I'm hearing good stuff about Ethereum all the time, but I still just want to get out of the project as fast as I can. So, hey, maybe if this hits 1,000 profit, I'll be saying goodbye to that position. What else do I got? Pengu and Pepe, the two meme coin plays. Pengu's doing fine, ranging at the top. We're not necessarily overbought. We did hit that over here, but we're kind of, getting used to that area, and we are in an uptrend. So that gives us more space to rise higher. So I'm good with Pengu there. With Pepe, less of a return on investment, and it's ranging a bit more in a bit more volatile sense, right? But still not making as much as Pengu, so it's kind of, just lagging behind a bit, but I'm sure it'll catch up. One day we're going to see like these kinds of candles on Pepe, so just waiting for that to happen. What else do we got? Solana, 231 current price. I'm happy with my Solana positions right here. I have another one open on another account, so this is not all the Solana that I have. And yeah, I mean, I transferred some actual Solana from spot market to pump fund because, don't get mad at me, but I am kind of seeing the potential in meme coins. As crazy as it sounds coming from a guy like me who doesn't like to gamble and is a very conservative investor. I say conservative, but maybe, I don't know, whatever your views are on how one can be as conservative in trading, but yeah, whatever. Solana's still a good project, like I said, and the meme coins, they will get really hot, so high hopes for that specifically, and also for Pump, their actual token themselves. I do want to get into a position in here, but the issue is we're not getting a good enough retracement so that I'm going to delete that, so that I can enter. Arguably here would have been a good entry, but there was no clear sign of being oversold. Maybe over here, but like that's even that is still a little too high. Nonetheless, wherever you entered and on these low areas, you would be in profit by now, but I want a genuinely good entry signal so that I can be happy with my entries. At the time, it's looking like we're going to be, if I was to enter into this, it's looking like the ICO price right over here, 0.5292. If I can get it in between there, a wedge of the price between the super trend and the ICO price seems to be an important level. So yeah, we'll see. XRP finally above $3, $3.03. We hit a high of 309 today. Still not good enough to reach the 333, and XRP is just another thing I want to get out of as fast as I can. I don't like it. Sui, it's on its way up little by little. But like I said, compared to Aptos, Aptos just made a much larger, a much better run, right? So I had to take profits on Aptos. But Sui is still there. It's still doing fine. I still have faith in the project, and I'll be holding on to it for a while longer. At least above $4, maybe I'll be tempted to take some profits on it. But for the time being, I'm content with holding on to it. Supertrend is on the rise as well for it. 325 is where it invalidates. My entry is 332. We're at 357, like I said. So we got plenty of space. And also, like I said, it's lagging behind. So eventually we're going to start see it making some good moves. Cardano's still at 85. Pathetic. But hey, approaching the downtrend and bouncing off of it, that's a start. We hit a high of 89 cents today. My average entry is still here. I think Cardano is also something, same sentiment that I have on Ethereum and Ripple. I want to get out of Cardano as well. I don't know. I say that now, but then watch it just skyrocket above $1 someday, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, cool. I always liked Cardano. No, really. But anyways, I mean, it just feels like they're so slow. They're too big cap already. There's much better projects that do better and are faster and are cheaper than those ones. Sure, they're OG, they're trusted, but come on. Nobody's really talking about Cardano these days. But I still feel like it's very undervalued nonetheless. Chainlink, genuinely good project, and I'd say at this time, yeah, we are kind of undervalued and we haven't risen as much, but I gave my reasons for it. It's due to the government shutdown, no non-farm payroll data, no unemployment data coming out today, so Chainlink is kind of just pushed to the side like, yeah, we're incorporating you into providing economic data from the government. Oh yeah, but there's no economic data to provide, so have fun being useful. It's like, okay, what are we doing with Chainlink anymore then? Or Pyth, for that matter. Still, good project nonetheless. It has more use cases than just being a provider of economic data to the blockchain for other chains to use, but yeah, I guess people are upset with the government shutdown, so I guess that's a little bit of an impact it's having on Chainlink. I know, blowing chunks. When are we getting our $3 Cardano? I miss it, man, but it's gonna be rough. Gonna be a rough ride for Cardano. I remember Cardano being number 3 on the whole crypto market cap list. Right now we're struggling to be number 10, I think. What are we even at with Cardano? Yeah, we're at number 10. So, but there's others runner-ups trying to take its spot. Almost. Well, we got a double in market cap for Hyperliquid, for Chainlink. Actually, yeah, I think Cardano's in a bit of a safe spot at that price. Sui undervalued though, I'm telling you. Okay. What else? Stellar I kind of already talked about. World Liberty Finance. Same deal here. I should have taken profit here. Now I kind of feel like I want to move my take profit down there. I don't know if I'm actually going to change it to that. I might just average out these prices. But we're getting new pivot levels. I've noticed World Liberty Finance likes to make its moves during the weekend, contrary to popular belief. Let me just do the math. 2205, 2193, 2176. Average all those out. I think this is a safe target. Remove this. Yes. Go to World Liberty Finance. Add a take profit. Right there. Makes 451. Not as much as I would have wanted, but get me out of here. It's also part of what I'm feeling with it. So yeah, that's what we got. Anything else special? Polkadot's making a good return. Not even that much on the rise, but decent return. Just means that I have a lot of capital in here. wherever it was. 2,500. It's not even that much, actually. Interesting. Bit tensor was slightly in the green. That's turning red already. Yeah, things like bit tensor. If we do see a retracement, I'll be adding more to those positions. I feel like they've got great potential. H-bar, don't forget they're getting an ETF as well. They will benefit from a good movement this month. Or maybe next month, whenever their ETF comes out. Polkadot ETF is also going to be a thing. Lots of ETFs to be expected. So don't be discouraged. The ETFs are coming, most likely nearing the end of the month. Especially for things like XRP and what was the other one? It's so irrelevant that I don't even remember. What else we got? Plasma. I should have, probably could have taken profits when it rose up here. It was only like a $200 profit. But that was like a perfect snipe of a trade that at this moment it's kind of, okay, who cares about that perfect snipe of a trade? Because we've touched that same level a couple of times now. Still good, nonetheless. I feel like if we do maintain this uptrend, we'll just easily bounce back. I don't know how much higher. I have to study a bit more into plasma, more of the tokenomics specifically, so... But I still think like any minimal correction toward the upside, I'll be taking profits with it. I got liquidated on this one for shorting it, so I now know not to short that one. But yeah. All right. Let's move on to the news. We don't got a lot of news today, bit of a slow news day, but there was a big development happening with Hamas, the Israel stuff. We're going to talk about that. Trump posted this on Truth Social, saying that Hamas has been a ruthless and violent threat for many years in the Middle East. Okay, well, that's no way to butter up the people you are about to negotiate with, but hey, fair enough. I guess they're the terrorists. They have killed and made lives unbearably miserable, culminating with the October 7th massacre in Israel. Babies, women, children, old people, and many young men and women, boys and girls, getting ready to celebrate their future lives together. As retribution for the October 7th attack on civilization, more than 25,000 Hamas soldiers, quote-unquote, have already been killed. How many Jews did they kill at that time? It was like 1,100, I think. And they lost 25,000. And then Israel has a lot more hostages than Hamas has of Israel's hostages. So a huge imbalance in numbers here. And Hamas is clearly losing this war. It's probably better, you know, for the sake of just numbers, the lives of people, to end the war and exchange hostages back. There were attempts made in the past. Those ceasefire deals were broken or just completely ignored. So we're hoping that this one actually makes a change in the right direction. We can all but hope. A lot of people are skeptical about it. Fair enough, given the history that's been with these ceasefire proposals, but we'll see what comes out of this one. Okay. What else did he say here? Most of the rest are surrounded and militarily trapped, just waiting for me to give the word go for their lives to be quickly extinguished. As for the rest, we know where and who you are, and you will be hunted down and killed. Wow. I'm asking that all innocent Palestinians immediately leave this area of potentially great future death for safer parts of Gaza. Everyone will be well cared for by those who are waiting to help. Fortunately for Hamas, however, they will be given one last chance. Great, powerful, and very rich nations of the Middle East and the surrounding areas beyond, together with the United States of America, have agreed, with Israel signing on, to peace after 3,000 years in the Middle East. This deal also spares the lives of all remaining Hamas fighters. The details of the document are known to the world, and it is a great one for all. I read it all in a couple streams ago, the whole 20 points. We will have peace in the Middle East one way or the other. The violence and bloodshed will stop. Release the hostages, all of them, including the bodies of those that are dead now. An agreement must be reached with Hamas by Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Washington time, which I'm assuming that's 3 hours behind us. So 9 p.m. If I stream on Sunday, 9 p.m., my usual streaming time, we might have an answer to all of this. Every country has signed on. If this last chance agreement is not reached, all hell, like no one has ever seen before, will break out against Hamas. I feel like that term has been overused by Trump at this point. He said the same thing to Iran. All hell will break loose. All hell will break loose. But he's saying it here again like no one has ever seen before. I feel like these are just play on words that Trump uses at this point. He just says them without thinking them because he's just so used to saying these stuff. Oh, this is like no one's ever seen before. That like no one's ever seen before. It's something you're going to notice Trump saying a lot. And I listen to Trump a lot. And I've picked up on that, right? Anyways, yeah, there will be peace in the Middle East one way or the other. So do it the good way by accepting the ceasefire proposal, or do it the bad way by rejecting it. And Trump has confirmed that he will completely back Israel and doing, providing them with whatever they need for all hell to break loose like no one's seen before, right? What else did I want to mention about this? Some part in the middle here. Well, yeah, they're telling the people of Gaza, I guess, hey, just in case, get out of this area. We know where those Hamas people are. We're going to track them down and kill them, basically. So, yeah, a direct threat to them. It's like you either accept this proposal or you die kind of stuff. We'll see what Hamas does. I did watch some coverage on it. It basically seems like their sentiment is that they don't want to disband, right? They want to keep their group as Hamas. They still want to have some sort of influence over Gaza, over the Palestinian Authority, whatever the case may be. So we'll see. We'll see what they say. Hamas says it will release all Israeli hostages, alive or bodies, under Trump's Gaza proposal, and it is ready to begin talks through mediators to discuss details. So that's probably a good sign. They are open to the idea of the ceasefire. They acknowledge it, okay? It's not confirmed or accepted just yet, but it's a step in the right direction is what it seems like to me. They will immediately join negotiations under Donald Trump's Gaza plan, agreeing to release hostages and give up power, while noting other parts need further talks with Palestinians. So it's like they still want to maybe make some modifications, something that will benefit them. Because the way I saw it is like, okay, if I was, not saying that I am, but if I was a Hamas person, what do we even say it? From the Hamas organization, what's in it for me, right? That's the kind of, I'm putting myself in their shoes to see, okay, is this genuinely good for Hamas or not? I mean, who really cares? They're terrorists at this point, and you're negotiating with terrorists, so you got to be careful with it. But I understand where they're coming from, and it seems like you just got to disband Hamas, have no power, no authority, and that's the only way that we will, end this war is defeating Hamas, basically. But do not worry about the Palestinian people, about the people in Gaza. We will rebuild Gaza. We're going to appoint businessmen and ex-prime ministers of UK to run the country, and it's going to look beautiful. We're going to have beaches. We're going to have golden hotels and casinos and everything, and it's going to be beautiful. We're going to make it a tourist destination, and that's how you can get a lot of money and help rebuild. We're going to help clean up all this rubble that you're seeing around here from all the destruction. That's kind of the promise that the world is giving to Hamas, is like, don't worry about Gaza. You guys just disband, stop being terrorists, and we'll come in and clean it all up. So we'll see what they say. Apparently this was released. Here's the response Hamas sent to President Trump about his proposed peace deal. The White House tweeted it, but then deleted it. Is this real? It seems like, yeah, don't see that post over here. The white text. 9 hours ago. Yeah, no, I just read this. So, seems like that is not the case. I mean, yeah, it seems like that is the case, that the White House has deleted the post. But here's just a reposter from Trump's Truth Social posts on X. And it shows apparently what Hamas's response to US President Trump's proposal is: the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas. I'll read this out first. So it says, out of keenness to end the aggression and genocide being carried out against our steadfast people in the Gaza Strip, and stemming from national responsibility, and in defense of the constant rights and higher interests of our people, the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas, has conducted in-depth consultations within its leadership institutions, broad consultations with Palestinian forces and factions, and consultations with brothers, mediators, and friends in order to reach a responsible position in dealing with the US President Trump's plan. Wow, they have good English for being Arabic, I guess, or whatever they speak. I'm sorry. It is Arabic, right? After thorough study, the movement has made its decision and conveyed the following response to the mediators. Hamas appreciates the Arab, Islamic, and international efforts, as well as the efforts of US President Donald Trump, calling for an end to the war on the Gaza Strip, the exchange of prisoners, the immediate entry of aid, the rejection of the occupation of the Strip, and the rejection of the displacement of our Palestinian people from it. That's also part of the thing, is like, we don't plan on force deporting people. We will not allow Israel to annex the Gaza Strip. We're just gonna help rebuild it. You can leave if you want, but you're allowed to come back in the future, and we're not gonna force you to leave, is part of what the deal said. So they also add, within this framework, and in a manner that achieves an end to the war and a full withdrawal from the Strip, the movement announces its approval of releasing all occupation prisoners, both living and remains, according to the exchange formula contained in President Trump's proposal, with the necessary field conditions for implementing the exchange. In this context, the movement affirms its readiness to immediately enter, through the mediators, into negotiations to discuss the details. So yes, they're open, they're willing to discuss the details of this proposal through mediators, though, not direct talks. The movement also reaffirms its approval to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body of independents, technocrats, based on Palestinian national consensus and supported by Arab and Islamic backing. As for other issues included in President Trump's proposal concerning the future of the Gaza Strip and the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people, this is tied to a collective national position and in accordance with relevant international laws and resolutions to be discussed within a comprehensive Palestinian national framework. So they're still discussing that behind the scenes, in which Hamas will be included and will contribute with full responsibility. Sincerely, the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas. So they still want to be included. From what I am understanding, the last words of this is that they don't plan on disbanding. Make of that what you will. I think that's going to be a big issue, is that will they agree to disband? I don't think they will. They're focused on their survival at this point. That's what the term is. So big TLDR, if you didn't understand a word I said, we're just going to wait until Sunday, 9 p.m., not 6 p.m. EST, it's 9 p.m. EST. 6 p.m. Washington time. Washington is not an EST. Anyways, we're waiting for Hamas to reply by Sunday, 9 p.m. EST. He said peace in the region will come one way or another. We'll see. Hopefully it's the good way and not the bad way, so that the cryptos will go up. But if it's the bad way, I will just buy the dips. Because what? That they're just going to continue the war and it's going to be the same narrative that we've seen for the past couple of years. The efforts are there to stop it. It's up to them to accept it at the cost of them disbanding and losing power, which that's obviously not something that they would really want. So they're going to have to consider that deeply. We'll see. We'll see what comes out of it. I'm glad to not be a part of them or associated with them in any manner so that I don't have to go through that kind of stress. The only stress I got to worry about is these darn coins, whether they go up or down. The US Treasury plans to mint $1 coins with President Trump's face on it. Cool. Who's on the $1 coin? Is it? Oh boy. Okay, well that's... why did it copy to clipboard? It's the Statue of Liberty. I've seen these ones in Ecuador. Because we use American dollars in Ecuador. Is it really just one of these faces? Or just the eagle? I guess it is. So they're putting Trump's face on it. I don't know if they're actually going to follow through with that. There's been many talks about it. Trump's face being on the $100 bill. That didn't happen. Charlie Kirk's face being on the... I don't remember which bill it was, but they were going to add it to a bill. That's not going to happen. Trump on the $1 coin, probably not going to happen. They say they plan to mint it, but none of it's confirmed. So we just got to wait and see, I guess. But it would be pretty cool seeing Trump's face on a coin. What will the liberals do? Russia's largest stock exchange has asked regulators to end the ban on retail Bitcoin trading. Cool. That's a step in the right direction. More governments getting involved with the purchase of Bitcoin and crypto. I heard something about the Swiss National Bank seizing a lot of crypto, and the fact that they might use that for a strategic reserve could be huge. But that's I don't know how much it was or how impactful it'll be. You already know some other countries are getting involved with it. El Salvador, Argentina's embracing it. Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and even the United States at this point. Just waiting on China and Russia to do their thing. So far, it seems like China is still against it, but there's like little loopholes around them kind of maybe agreeing to drop the regulation on it. And also South Korea, right? Was it South Korea, I think? They released a stable coin with Avalanche. That made Avalanche go up in price a lot. I haven't looked at Avalanche. Maybe I'll start investing in it. What are we at? Oh my gosh, we're already above $30. What did we retrace to? 27? Did I have this over here a long time ago? Wow. Hello, Jesus Barak. Welcome. I think I might have missed my chance on Avalanche. Yeah, absolutely did. 27 was the entry. Whatever. There will always be opportunities, as I say. But yeah, anyways. I said South Korea because this guy, Young Hoon Kim, I think he's from South Korea. I hope. This is the world's largest IQ holder, by the way. Smartest man in the world, basically. Where are you from? University of what? Come on. I'm assuming it's Korea. South Korea. It just sounds right. Yeah, Korea University. Cool. He also looks Korean. And he's a Christian too. He predicts that Bitcoin will end the year above $150,000. He even went as far as putting his money where his mouth is, saying that, I shared this post a couple days ago, that he fully believes and puts his trust in Bitcoin, and also God, but Bitcoin, to the fact that he sold all of his assets, everything he owns, and he's put his whole net worth into Bitcoin. RFK Jr. has done that same thing, by the way. Maybe even I will plan to do the same thing. I don't have that much assets. I might as well just sell everything, put it all in Bitcoin, right? Screw it. Go up, go down. I just know it will go up forever because it's the best hedge against inflation. And we know that money printer is coming on. I talked about the stimulus checks that might be coming out yesterday's stream. You know, it's all leading to that money printer. Quantitative easing, the rate cuts that we're expecting. Bitcoin will absolutely benefit from that, and other commodities as well. So here's his prediction. 150,000 from the world's smartest man by the end of this year. All right. And even Michael Saylor, also a very smart person when it comes to crypto. He's asking the community, I guess, will Bitcoin end the year above 150,000? 77% of people say yes. I voted yes, even though, yeah, I think we will. 150,000? Sure. Seems reasonable. I had my target of Bitcoin at 135,000. Don't worry, my target will still be that as soon as I re-enter Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin will retrace, right? Imagine we just don't retrace on Bitcoin. We just break all-time highs and we just shoot up immediately to 135,000. I think that would be the end of me for my little YouTuber career. I'll just exit everything and cry. No, but I come on. Something's going to have to happen. We're going to have to retrace somewhere, and I'm looking at 116,000. It has to happen. Maybe Hamas rejects the deal and that's what happens. We'll see. Or maybe we're just, you know, too much rising. The fatigue will hit and we'll start dropping. Or maybe I'm just wrong entirely and it's October and everything goes up forever. Maybe that's the case. Sure. But I think at the very minimum, if we don't drop, we're just going to stay in a range at the top for a moment while the RSI kind of cools off around this area before we can start making some more overbought movements, you know? Maybe. $3.6 trillion entity, JP Morgan, says that Bitcoin is undervalued compared to gold and suggests that it could reach 165,000. By when? They didn't say by when. I'm assuming it's by the end of this year. I've been sharing the price targets from lots of banks already. We just shared Citigroup, Citibank, whatever. Their target for Bitcoin is 185,000, I think, or 180,000. Or I think it was 181, actually. Something like that. 180 something. Within 12 months is what they said, though. Come on. Just give us an end of year prediction. But still, 180,000 Bitcoin, sure. We're all seeing these higher numbers for Bitcoin. Everybody sees it. Or maybe it's just a plan for exit liquidity. Who knows? What I do know is that we have a bit of an issue here as well. Part of the reason why I think a correction is necessary, we are over leveraged. If Bitcoin rises to 130,000, we get $1.5 billion in shorts liquidated. Cool. But if we drop to 105,000, we will see $15 billion in longs liquidated. I don't think we're dropping that hard. 105,000, that's a bit cruel. But, okay, something like, there's people with like 100, 125x leverage over here. Those guys gotta go. They gotta go. And I was also looking at this, the liquidation heat map. Let me go down to like a 3 days so we could see this in all its glory. This right here. So lots of leverage to be liquidated right over here where it's very yellow. And what are those numbers? 118, 117,000. If we get a drop that's hard enough to take us down to 119,000, that's going to be the trigger. Below 119,000 is going to be an immediate drop to somewhere close to 17,000, 16,000 before we, you know, a bit of purple before that kind of, this kind of liquidation happens. Although it's nothing too crazy either, but it's going to start ramping up as time goes on, right? More long positions will get open here. How I read this chart, Jesus, is you basically hover your mouse on this. I could probably zoom in here. Yeah, I can. And these numbers, anything that's below the price are long positions getting liquidated. This is the scale of the numbers, right? The more yellow it is the more amount of money that is here, higher concentration of money. You see the liquidation leverage where my mouse is like 240, 270 million, 250 million. Where it's purple or dark, you see on the scale over here, it's like lesser numbers, closer to zero, right? So where we are right now, it's like 20 million. That's nothing. That's normal movement. Compared to something like 285 million where it's very yellow, that's like the amount of concentration of longs leverage positions getting ready to be liquidated if price does reach those levels over here. And where it's purple is where I see we can slow down the, you know, that cascade of a crash if that was to happen. So that's kind of what I also base my entries off of sometimes. If that is the case though, I also look at the super trend to kind of help me base off of like, where could we hypothetically drop and bounce and still be considered in an uptrend? You basically look at the super trend to help you out with that as well, right? Because super trend, if like we start lateralizing or stop moving higher over here and we crash down, how far can we go? 116,000 basically, right? And if we bounce up here, we still maintain the uptrend, and basically all we got to do is just adjust it to something like this, and the uptrend is perfect as it is. If we do break it though, if, you know, price kind of does something like this and breaks it lower, then the super trend gets broken, it turns into a negative one, and then we get ready to draw downtrends based off of, you know, wherever the price decides to head off to next. But we don't know that for sure. It's a lot of speculation in terms of time here, so, you know. We stream live every night just to kind of figure out where we're at when those times come. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I wanted to share here, is that there are more longs available to get liquidated than there are shorts at this time, because a lot of them already got liquidated. A lot of the short positions got liquidated with this rise that we experienced this week. I want to go to the weekly chart. Is this a huge green candle? Probably is. Yeah, look at that. This week, 10% alone in Bitcoin. We did even better than July 7, which is crazy. I think that's one of our top weeks, actually. 11% recovery here in April. Okay, fair enough, because we were very oversold at that time. 13% rise, 17% rise. Okay, so we've seen better weeks. Actually, this was in November. This is when Trump won, so that's not fair. But this is a really good week compared to a lot of the other weeks in Bitcoin for this year. Just goes to show, you know, you better be in Bitcoin to get to, you know, be part of those gains when those good weeks happen. Take advantage of the bad weeks, you'll enjoy the good weeks. We have a partnership announcement from Coinbase. They're partnering with Samsung Wallet to make crypto even more accessible. I did not get that update yet on my Samsung phone. It's actually, let me check right now. We're offering 75 million plus Samsung Galaxy users in the US. Oh, there we go. There's the answer to my question. It's in the US, not in Canada. Free access to Coinbase One. Oh, also, I don't have that. Coinbase One. It's I think it's the premium version of Coinbase, to bring them on board, so you can on-ramp and off-ramp fiat for crypto. You're fully integrating Samsung Pay, so every Coinbase user in the US can use that to buy crypto. Good for adoption in general, so step in the right direction. Netflix apparently is still suffering. I'll be the judge of that. They've lost over $25 billion in market value since Elon Musk called them out for pushing radical trans ideology on kids. And he's still posting about that, by the way. Like, everything on Elon Musk's Twitter right now is just reposts of woke stuff on Netflix that they're showing to kids, promoting transgender stuff and cartoons. Yeah, it's at a very oversold area, so if you still like Netflix, here's a good entry. Possibly. Not financial advice, but if this was just not Netflix at all and this was just some random asset and I'm looking at the charts completely basing it off of technical analysis, I'd be like, yeah, this is an entry right over here. Just for a short-term trade, right? If you got leverage, you could take advantage of that kind of a movement. But this is me just ignoring that it's Netflix. Right now, Netflix not going through a good time, so... And I also don't support that stuff either, so I will stay out of it. I just wanted to share it, just in case you guys care about Netflix at all. Last bit of news. Sean Diddy Combs, P. Diddy. He got it. He got his sentence. The hearing was today. 4 years to jail. 2 months in prison in Freakoff's case. What? 4 years, 2 months in prison for his Freakoff's case. Yeah, some people are saying this is a bit too short of a sentence for the crimes he's committed. Yeah, whatever. There you go. If you care about P. Diddy at all, I don't, but it's relevant news. There's not a lot of news to talk about today, so that came up. Decided to share it. There you go. RSI is heading downwards for Bitcoin. That's all the news I have for today. What are we expecting? So, like I said, over the weekend, low volatility. Sunday evening, super important. Hamas response. Maybe they respond even earlier than that. Who knows? But it's something that they seriously got to consider, right? How they're going to respond to the whole situation. We'll see if Blowing Chunk's prediction is right. Hamas rejects the deal. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but it would suck, like, geopolitically speaking, because, yeah, the war is going to continue. More people will keep on dying, whatever. But hey, we'll probably have a good opportunity to enter if you do not have any entries yet. Maybe on some altcoins, because the alt season still has to kick off, right? Bitcoin is making its move, then Ethereum will make its move to 5,000, and then Solana to 300, and then XRP to $4 and Sui to $5 because it's better than XRP and XRP sucks. And then Cardano maybe $1 because it's still lagging behind. But hey, you know, little by little, all these altcoins, they'll start getting up there. So I've got plenty of capital ready in case a dip happens, and I'll be putting a large allocation of it in Bitcoin. Responsibly, though, if I do see an entry, I'm not going to enter because I think, oh, Bitcoin's kind of down right over here. Maybe I'll enter here. No, I will not do that. I will enter only when RSI oversold, which is likely to happen over here, is what I would predict at 116,000. Based off of the chart that I checked with USDT right over here, right? I'm basing it off of Fibonacci from our low point, 26th of September, and our just recent high today. If we don't make another high, that is, right? If we topped out today, this is what the Fibonacci is going to look like. This is where the super trend is going to hover around. I would average out an entry between these two, right? And hopefully I'd be able to snipe the price like this. I don't know if I'm going to go like actually all in on Bitcoin because buying at 116,000 is a bit, after being, you know, holding at 112,000 for a month or two and seeing it go against me even more, like 108, 109,000. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be easy to erase all those gains per se, but yeah, I'll put a sizable amount at 116,000 if we do see it. That is, well, I'm not even going to promise that because I genuinely don't even know if that's going to happen in the first place. But it's the futures market. You got to take profits. Otherwise, you're just going to get wrecked. Most of my positions, you're going to notice I don't use a stop loss. That's because my stop loss is the whole amount of capital that gets liquidated at 3x. And 3x leverage is arguably a safe distance on most coins. So, I mean, but it would be wise. People always say you have to use a stop loss. Okay, sure. And I probably would. You know what? Matter of fact, on Ethereum, for example, I'll take Ethereum as an example. I would put a stop loss on Ethereum. Now that I am up a significant amount, 756, my entry was 4,133. Our current price is 4,481. 4,200, I make $145. Okay, well, that's a take profit. I am very smart, as you guys can tell. 4,200 stop loss, I make 145 in profit. If Ethereum drops to 4,200, sure, you win. Give me $145 and give me back the 3,000 I put in here. I'll decide where I put the rest of that money in Ethereum if I want to. That's the kind of thing I do so that I don't have to suffer with seeing Ethereum go negative. Sure, it will suck the fact that I'm making 759 right now and knowing a possibility in the future that if Ethereum goes against me, instead of making 759, I would make 145. That's annoying, the $600 approximate difference between that. But it's better than, you know, going negative and even potentially losing the whole $3,000. I'm not saying that it will, but the chance is there if you don't have a stop loss or any way to protect it. A lot of other coins, they're still like very much just starting out, like very tiny profits, or some are not even in profit yet, right? Those I would not touch until I see a sizable amount. Then I'll consider putting some stop losses to protect my capital, and then a take profit at a decent price, right? For the rest of these, I do just have a take profit. Some are there just for placeholder. Like Cardano, $2. Come on. It would be cool though. I'd make 5,400 and I wouldn't complain about it. But realistically speaking, come on. I've not looked at the inflation chart for Cardano. I'll just look at Cardano just for this once before I end off the stream here. Yeah, the market cap is relatively stable with what we're seeing with the price. So no big issues with inflation here. That's a good thing. That means if we ever do get to this amount of money, $92 billion into Cardano, we could see the price of it rise to our precious $3 that we've seen. This is $3, right? $2.80, $2.91. Yeah, about $3 in the past that we have seen for Cardano. So it's possible. But what are we at right now? 30 billion. And what did I say? I already forgot. I have short-term memory loss. 90 billion. So that's a 3x from here. It could happen. But Cardano would have to be super hot. Like, they have to have something going on for them. Otherwise, people are not just going to pump Cardano for no good reason. If there's other better projects to invest in that do better than Cardano, will probably give a better return and are probably just better in general. So that's also my thoughts on it. The fundamentals would have to be there to give it that push, that oomph, you know, to get to that level. But as of right now, it's pretty hard to see that. All right. Cool. Good stuff, guys. So that ends the stream for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, learned something new. Thanks so much for the support as always. I'll see you tomorrow if nothing relevant is happening in my life. Hopefully something relevant happens in the news to talk about because it's been lacking lately, I will admit, but we're still managing to get the streams out. So it's been working out fine. Yeah. All right. Till then, have a great rest of your evening. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. Bye.